looking super comfy today. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. My name's Casey, and today I'm going to be showing you guys some things that have helped me with my anxiety. First, let me give you a little bit of backstory on my anxiety. So basically, I never really understood what anxiety was. Sure, I got nervous or panicky sometimes, but I was pretty much somebody that lived like they were invincible for a very long time. After the pandemic, things got really weird for me, and when I first started experiencing anxiety, I didn't even really understand what was going on with me. But now, after some therapy and navigating this journey, I know what's going on, and I think I have a good grasp on how to handle it. And because of that, it's something I've become kind of passionate about, and I really wanted to make this video to help others who might be going through what I've been going through. I've had panic attacks that were terrifying, and anxiety that manifested in ways that I didn't even know anxiety could manifest in, such as being afraid of the weather, and eventually leading to something as severe as, I guess, agoraphobia. I was pretty much afraid to leave my house. Now I'm happy to say I am coming out on the other side of things, but it has been a year-long struggle. It was hands down one of the craziest experiences I've ever had, and definitely one of the worst years of my life. There's a ton of information out there about what can help, and I hope that you find whatever information is going to help you. These are the 5 things that have really helped me, and so I just wanted to share them with you today. If something in this video even helps one person get through what they're going through, that'll do it for me. And if you can't find that information here, I know that you will find it elsewhere. Talk to your doctor, talk to a therapist, talk to other people. A huge thing with getting through stuff like this, I found, is just being open and honest about it. So I hope you have a safe space to do that, and if you don't, I know there are resources that you can use to do so. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing, which I'm sure you've heard about before, is therapy. This really helped me when I needed it the most. I recently stopped doing therapy. Number one, that's a huge step. It was really hard for me to navigate when I didn't need therapy anymore, but in my darkest of times, it was something so crucial for me. I'm 32. I'd never done therapy before, and I know therapy is kind of pricey. I want to tell you a little bit about how I did it. I didn't use insurance, and I looked around for different options, and I know there's mixed reviews on the platform that I went through, but I did BetterHelp. Pretty much anywhere that you go, you can find a code for it. And no, this is not sponsored. I paid for it, and they're not paying me to talk about it. I really lucked out as far as BetterHelp goes. The first therapist that they paired me with fit so perfectly into what I was searching for. She was a great resource to talk to, and she seemed very knowledgeable on things that I had no idea. Again, this was all very new for me. It was a fairly affordable option, and I went through it without insurance. In my opinion, therapy should not be a luxury. Everybody should be able to get therapy, and I wish we lived in a world where that was true. If you are somebody who cannot afford therapy, just talking to people that love you. And again, if you're even further than that, somebody who does not have a support system, I just want to hug you, first of all. And secondly, I know there are hotlines of different sorts that you can reach through. For me, going into my first therapy appointment, I remember it so vividly. I was so nervous. I did video therapy, so it was all over the computer via what you would think of as a Zoom call. And being in therapy really allowed me to identify triggers. A lot of times these sorts of things happen for a reason. And even though sometimes it can be hard to understand what the reason is, my therapist really helped me identify different triggers that I had, so I could kind of anticipate when my anxiety was going to start ramping up and why that was happening. The big thing in this whole experience has been learning that knowledge is power. And we'll get into that a little bit more in this video. Therapists also are really well equipped to give you great coping mechanisms for those inevitable times where you are going to start to feel that immense amount of panic, where you feel like you need to get out of your own skin. There's not enough air to breathe in the whole entire world for you in the moment. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I feel ya. I really do. That first step of therapy for me was such a brave thing for me to do. And every brave step that I take really helps me pull myself out of this feeling of helplessness. So that's number one, therapy. So the next thing that's also probably going to sound just a tidbit cliche is meditation. I have been on Reddit at 3 o'clock in the morning in the midst of a panic attack, typing in how do I calm myself down? I've been there, guys. I've been there. It is so important for me and important to me to get the message across that however crazy you feel, It is totally normal to feel that way. You are not alone in those feelings. And one of the things that I kept seeing time and time again was meditation. I'd never done that before. But for me, meditation has really become a way for me to just slow down, sit in my breath, sit in my feelings. It is so hard to convince yourself in a moment of panic that this panic can't hurt you. You think that there's no end in sight, that it's gonna harm you physically. And it's a terrifying feeling. So when I start to feel that way, if I meditate, teach myself that no, I am the one in control of my breathing. I can center myself. That is my choice. Anxiety, it is not yours. It is mine. I urge you to try this. I used to just meditate when I was feeling anxious. Once you start moving away from that anxiety, just like being a part of every moment of every day of your life, and you start gravitating towards more normalcy, which will happen on your journey at some point, I hope. It's how it worked out for me. I just encourage you to put meditation into your daily routine. Make it a part of your day. Do it for yourself. I try to do it 5 times a week at any point during my day. What I do is I just go on YouTube and I type meditation. I find one for the amount of time that I have that sits, that it'll get me sitting. I put headphones in, close my eyes, so there's no other world at that point besides myself, my body, my breath, my mind. It's all me in that moment. And I really think it's like a life hack, meditation. You can take this the next step extreme, which I did this too, and this really helped as well, and it's going to sound a little bit crazy. But if you guys haven't heard of this, there's this guy named Wim Hof, okay? The story behind him is like pretty long-winded, but I'll give you the rundown. His wife really suffered with mental health issues. She ended up passing away. So he went on this mission to create this program that people could follow to help alleviate symptoms and also just restore your confidence in like yourself. For me, this program was life-changing. I've been doing it for, I want to say like 4 months now, consistently. What it includes is a system of breath work and different sort of challenges, like different stretching and taking cold showers every single morning. And I mean freezing cold. It sounds crazy, but there are so many benefits to cold therapy, hot therapy, saunas, ice baths. This is something you can do at home to kind of trigger those same responses. When you jump into a cold shower, your nervous system goes wild, right? You have that fight or flight reaction. But when you choose to stay, you're not fleeing. You're staying it out. And for me, this worked in so many different ways. Wim Hof climbed Mount Everest in no shoes or socks and no shirt. This guy just like took a challenge and absolutely crushed it. And every single time I stepped into that cold shower, I gained confidence in myself. It's going to be hard, but I can do this. The other thing is when you step into that cold shower, your initial reaction is going to be to tense up, but you have to breathe through it. So it also helps you focus on deep breathing and controlling your breath. I can't really say enough good things, and I will say this is a free method. You can learn it for free. It worked for me, and maybe you can try it. There's tons of videos on YouTube because I was a skeptic at first. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos about it. The reviews seem to be pretty great, and so I downloaded his app, just Wim Hof. Just search it in your app store. You'll see it pop up. It's totally free, and it gives you like the daily exercises that you can do every single day. After like a week of doing it, you won't even need to refer to it because you'll just know what your step is. And it adds a new sense of routine. For me, having a whole new routine shifted my whole viewpoint on things. The next thing is books and videos. There is a huge library of videos on the internet that talk about anxiety recovery, other people's experiences. For me, a huge person that I have referred to the YouTube videos time and time again is, I think his name is Sean Kassam, okay? I'll put the channel below. Watching those videos really has helped me, and for me, a huge part of this whole thing has also been seeing stories of people who have gone through it and gotten through it. It gives you a sense of hope. And for a while, if you've gone through this, I'm sure you know, there are going to be times where you feel absolutely hopeless, where you're like, this is just my life now, so I just need to lie there and take it. You don't. You don't. Leaving the house was a huge thing for me, in crowds especially. So before I would leave, I would watch videos that pump me up and give me resources, techniques that I can use, and then I'd go out into the world. But the biggest thing has been reading books. I'm going to show you some of the books that I've been reading. I will link them all below. And like I said, this was all very new to me. Knowledge is 110% power. When you have no clue what is happening to you or your body, it is scary. Anything you don't know anything about is scary. Learning why this is happening and how to get through it, and just reading all this stuff. Reading's a relaxing habit as it is. There's a ton of books about this. These are the ones that have really helped me, and I'd recommend them 10 out of 10. And I picked a few from each like different genre, if you will. So I'm just going to show you them. I read this one, At Last a Life, and this is about a guy. It is a biography, if you will, a story about this guy, how he recovered from 10 years worth of anxiety and panic. And it's his story. It's a great book. So reading about somebody's story, and if that's the route you want to go, I recommend this. The next thing that I read, which was talked about in so many different forums and stuff that I was on, was this, Dare. I'm actually halfway through this right now, but this book is meant to help you manage your anxiety. It's a program built into this book, which is, I'll just, spoiler alert, what the program is essentially it gets you to look at your anxiety and not fear it. A huge thing for me was I became afraid of being afraid, okay? Before I was even afraid, I was afraid that I was going to get afraid, so I just wouldn't do anything. This book teaches you to run towards your fear, sit with your fear, learn from your fear, and when you take that fear away, it's not so fearful anymore. The next book is called Simple, Soulful, Sacred. This book right here, chapters are very short. Again, it's about a woman who has gone through the ringer of things. And what I love about this book is at the end of each chapter, there's an affirmation. What I like to do is write these affirmations down, and for a while I was saying them to myself in the mirror every single day. I needed to change the way that I looked at myself. And this book really helped me do that. If you want a more lighthearted take on things, I really liked this one by Lily Singh. She's a YouTuber, or used to be. I don't know if she still does. But it's called Be a Triangle. And it's kind of about her journey, especially with being in the eye of social media, which is obviously prevalent to my life. My mom actually got me this book. It's a quick read, it's a lighthearted take on things, and it does have helpful information in it. Learn about your anxiety and why it's happening. There are two books that stand out to me 100%. They are Hope and Help for Your Nerves by Dr. Claire Weekes. She's been talking about anxiety for a real long time. What this is going to do is it's going to explain to you why you're feeling the way that you're feeling and how you can help yourself feel differently about the way that you're feeling. And the next one, which came highly recommended, is Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? This goes through therapy skills, life skills. It is jam-packed with knowledge. And these two books, you won't see people say bad things about them. They're fantastic reads. This is something a little different. We're going to move into workbooks. You have to be an active participant in your recovery. You have to be. There's no way around it. You can't just sit back and let someone do it for you. You need to do it for yourself. And this book right here, I got it off Amazon. It is a shadow work book, okay? So basically, you are going to answer some questions that are going to probably make you feel some sort of way about yourself. What do I need to stop running away from? What areas of my life need to be freed from outside influence? This is going to let you sit back and reflect on things that you might avoid. For me, avoidance is a huge thing with my anxiety. It's something that I talked about in therapy all of the time, and I've really tried to like grab it by the horns. This doesn't let you avoid. And then the last two are also workbooks. This one is Cognitive Behavioral Therapy in 7 Weeks, and this one is Panic Attack Workbook. This is going to walk you through a panic attack, tell you exactly what's happening and why it's happening and how you can make it better. And what I like about these sort of things are they are books that you are actively involved in working through. This one, I'm sure you've heard of CBT before, and this is going to walk you through it. It's a program designed for 7 weeks. It's not something you rush through. You take your time and you go through it, and CBT has been a huge help for me. They use this book in therapy. If you can't afford therapy, I kind of look at this as like a way to do therapy on yourself, or find a buddy who will do it with you. This next one can sound a little preachy. I'm going to try not to come off that way. Food and exercise. Food and exercise, there I said it. Moving your body around. Moving your body around. Look, I'm not saying you gotta train for a 5K or anything. I don't even go to the gym. Find something that works for you to get you moving every single day. Again, with a confidence booster, it's gonna make you feel more capable of doing things. It's gonna remind you that you care about yourself and you wanna take care of yourself, because there's no way to cut it. Working out is good for you. Like I said, I don't like to go to the gym. I also really don't like to do cardio. So what do? I found a girl. Her name's Julie Ledbetter. Again, I pay for this all by myself. I think it's $10 a month and you get 5 workouts a week, and it's all dumbbell workouts you can do at home. They're half-hour workouts or 45 minutes workouts. You get to choose. And I'm not telling you have to do that one. I'm just telling you what I do. I've started to implement that into my day-to-day 5 days a week. And it's been a game changer for me. It's also like can be used as like a distraction, which is a huge part of this. So if the other day it was a snowstorm and I was terrified, so I did a workout and it took my mind off things and it made me feel good. And hand in hand with that goes your diet. We all know we live in a world right now where a lot of foods have a lot of processed things. Our gut health has so much to do with our mental health, and I know it's easy to get sidetracked. And again, I'm not saying you got to eat clean and healthy every single day. I don't. But I do try to fuel my body for the most part with things that I know are going to be good for me, that I know my body's going to enjoy. When your body is busy processing all these things that are not meant to be in there, or your body has a hard time processing, you're missing out on other things your body can be doing for you. I'm going to start sharing some meals and stuff. Let me know if you want any ideas. But food's been a big change for me. Water intake. These are not like fix-alls, but they're things that you can do that are going to make your body just run better. And in turn, your mind. It's the ground up. It's work from the ground up, and that's a foundation. The last one is the worst one, and if you're borderline offended by this, I hear you. I was too. I did not want anything to do with this, even though it was something that was being said over and over again in a lot of the stuff that I was seeing. You got to sit with it. You got to let it be your friend. You got to say, hey, anxiety, I see you over there. Pull up a chair. Let's hang out. You grow through what you go through. You have to go through it to get through it. And for a lot of us, it's defeating to think that our anxiety is just a part of us now. That's just how we're going to feel. Because once you feel it, it's hard to forget how it feels. And for me, I became afraid of that feeling. We got to take the fear out. So you got to sit with it. Someone maybe referred to this as exposure therapy. And that's helped me a lot, because a lot of my triggers were physical things like driving far away, going to the grocery store, driving in the rain, being in the snow. What this means is you do these things that you know are going to trigger anxiety in you. You don't dive in head first unless you want to. Hasn't worked like that for me, because oftentimes that leads to a setback, which leads to failure, which leads to doubt, which leads to just not nice feelings about yourself. So I started a little at a time. With the rain, for example, when it rained, I would go sit in my car. I would just sit in my car and I would just hear the sound, and then I would drive a mile down the road, and now I can drive in the rain. It's letting yourself sit with it. It's willingly entering into anxiety. I was huge on avoiding, like I said. So I would say, oh yeah, I can't come. If the weather was bad, I'd say, oh yeah, I just can't make it. If I was asked to go somewhere far away, I'd say, oh yeah, I just don't think my anxiety is going to allow me to do that. When you're sitting out, you're rewarding that behavior for yourself. Oh, so I don't have to go do this now, so I get to just stay home and avoid my anxiety, and that's a reward for me. And now I know that I got to go do the scary thing. And then when I get back from doing the scary thing, I get to reward myself in, number one, feeling proud of myself, which I hadn't felt for a little while. And number two, I can give myself an extra reward if I want to, for feeling good that I did something. I might buy myself a new pair of earrings. I might go get that book that I've been wanting to read. Reward myself for doing the challenging thing, for not choosing comfort. All the things that I've talked about are things you can do at home or you can do on the go. I know my anxiety is much worse when I'm not at home, and these are things that I can do elsewhere. So that's my list. And I encourage you to make a list of what helps you. I literally have this in writing and I keep it right on my desk, pinned to my corkboard. It's a good resource to look at and say, hey, I have these things that I can do to... It's a good check-in with yourself. Am I doing these things? Am I taking care of myself? If you already have a list like this, or you have things that have helped you, by all means, leave them in the comments. I'm going to talk about this stuff a little more. It's scary and weird, and there's like a fear of shame and judgment. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I have a pretty core group of people that watch me on here, and most of you follow me elsewhere. So I also just want to put it out there. If you ever need someone to talk to that gets it, I'm here as a resource, as a listening, as a soundboard, whatever you need. And I think that's it for this video. Thanks for sitting down with me, and I'll see you in the next one.